Your theory is he's a Muslim.
Yes. In fact, if we look at Daniel, he gives us explicit explanations about the Antichrist. He does not honor the gods of his fathers. And in fact, there's a argument over the, I know you say Eloha, one God, the God of his father, many gods, plural gods, pagan gods. Even if they're right that it is one God, well, the Muslims worship one God. He does not honor the God of his father, the gods of his father, whichever way we look at it. But in their stead, he will honor the God of fortresses, the God of war. And in fact, who's honoring the God of war these days? He does not honor the desire of women. It doesn't say he doesn't desire women, that he means he's a homosexual. But it says clearly he does not honor the desire of women. Who doesn't honor the desire of women these days? Well, Sharia law in the West would be a dishonoring of desire of women. Women have no rights, basically. He would not take women's opinions at all.
That Sharia you mentioned is the Islamic law, the Wahhabic law that's very, very harsh, and especially comes down on women.
That's right.
Don't they kill girls for being romantic, for kissing goodnight, this sort of thing?
It's pretty strict. Sharia law is very, very strict regarding men and male and female. In fact, when I lived in Israel, in the West Bank, what they call West Bank, Judea, the schools were segregated, so we would not, we didn't see the girls at all. So you can imagine in Saudi Arabia what kind of society it is. It becomes very harsh.
There was a movie made in Turkey called Yol, Y-O-L. I don't know if you saw it a few years ago, but that was a scene of people who were traveling on a train, and a husband and wife who had not seen each other for a while, came together. He was a prisoner. He was released, and she came to meet him, and they were on the train together, and they sneaked in between the cars, and they were kissing. And the train was stopped, and mullahs came, and they wanted to execute the two of them until somebody said, just a minute, they are husband and wife. And then the crowd was very disappointed because they had two people they could have executed, and now they really did.
Imagine, Zola, if he was a Christian or a Jew who's dating a Muslim girl.
Whoa! Execution city.
In fact, most of the killings that happens in countries like Jordan and Egypt, most of the crime is honor killing. I remember our first honor killing that we...
An honor killing, somebody has besmirched the family honor
in the camp of Aida in Bethlehem. My friend Ilyas al-Illari, I remember he told me the story. He went over to that night to the camp, and he remembers the guy brought his daughter out in the middle of the night, and he called the entire community as he killed his daughter on the staircase of his home, with the entire community witnessing. The Israelis arrested him, and he was imprisoned, and the whole community raised a fund to bail him out. That's the difference.
What was his daughter's crime?
Well, she was accused of having an adulterous relationship. She was, her father forced married her to this older guy, and so it was an accusation without a trial. He killed his daughter.
It wasn't even established that it was true.
It wasn't established it was true. So you have honor killings galore in Jordan, in Egypt. And most of these honor killings is against women. So he doesn't honor the desire of women, women's rights. The laws against women tend to be, just what it says.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what about, you're coming to the number of the beast, are you? This is another fascinating, you discussed this with me, this number 666 that Christians are trying to work this puzzle for generations.
Yes.
What does it really mean?
Well, I don't think the Bible, God didn't have any intent of us working out gematria in the Bible, the numerology.
The numerology, Jewish study of numbers.
Yeah, I don't think it belonged in this issue. I think it's very simple. It clearly says even in Revelation 13:17, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark of the beast, the name of the beast, or the number of his name. That's the translation.
Yeah.
But if you look at the word name of the beast, okay, look up the word name everywhere in Scripture in allegoric fashion. Remember, Revelation is written in allegory. On his thigh written a name, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Is that a name? That's not a name. It's a title.
Yes.
It's a declaration. And on her forehead written a name, Mother of Harlots, Mystery Babylon, Mother of Harlots, Abomination of the Earth. His name shall be called Emmanuel, which means God with us. His name is not Emmanuel, it is a title. Yeah. So it's a declaration of faith. The mark on the right hand, dextrios in the Greek, could be the right shoulder or on the forehead. It is a title of a declaration of servitude. That's what in Roman times it was. Your declaration to your master. So you could say that a title, I declare no God but Allah, and Muhammad was the one who was sent by Allah, which is the decree to become a Muslim. That could be a declaration as well. So it is not a name of a person, it is a declaration. It is a blasphemous declaration in Christian theology. And if you recall, in the New Testament it says, who is a liar? He who denies that Christ came in the flesh. He is Antichrist that denies the Father and the Son.
Okay, now the next verse, Revelation 13:18 says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Well, we have to understand, Zola, that what we're looking at is a translation into the English. Going to the original Greek, going to the ancient manuscripts, you would find out that the number 666 does not exist at all. Let him who is with wisdom figure out the arithmos, multitude of the beast. Also could mean multitude of a people, multitude of the empire. For it is a multitude of one man. And his multitude is in the symbol that I see in the ancient text. And what they thought was Greek symbols, if I may write them down. And it looks something like this. This is what John saw. This is what he wrote. And everybody knows, if you read Arabic, that this is Bismillah. The Allah was written a little bit lower, and with the two symbols of the swords. If you look at the flag of Saudi Arabia even, you see the symbol of the swords.
The cross swords.
The cross swords is the symbol of Islam. This would be a symbol. And Bismillah, in the name of Allah. This is what I saw when I first saw the text. I read it in Arabic. You can take the text to any Arabic-speaking person, and they can read it for you, and it's clear, Bismillah. This was written on all the ancient Islamic coins. This was in every opening of every letter. This is before you kill a chicken, you say Bismillah. So this symbol was the Islamic symbol from the beginning.
What is the exact translation of Bismillah?
In the name of Allah.
Oh, that's all. It's not 666.
It's not 666.
Well, that should put a lot of people to relaxing. They're still fooling with Jewish stars and trying to figure out.
Yeah, because they thought that this looks like a Greek letter. So they took the equivalent of that Greek letter, and they said, okay, it equals 600. It equals, as a matter of fact, some texts show 616. It's not even 660. So we're getting into the numerology. No, Gorbachev is not the Antichrist. It's not a name as we think. I think we need to be simple and logical. It has been given to shepherds and to farmers to understand
it. Oh, yes. And it's rather like the name Jesus, J-E-S-U-S, which was not his name. His name was Yeshua.
That's right.
But when it's written down in the Greek lettering, it looks to English-reading people like something like J-E-S-U-S. That's nonsense. If he walked down the street and you called out that name, he wouldn't turn around. But we've come to, gosh, we even sing a hymn, Jesus, Jesus, there's something about that name. Well, there is. Nobody was ever named that. But this happens from different languages. And that, I think, is the spirit of Pentecost, where at least when they spoke in foreign languages, it was all understood.
That's right. Yeah. The Arabs, somebody understood Arabic.
Oh, sure. There were people from Libya there, it says, and from all over the empire.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And, we know that the Antichrist comes from the Seleucid dynasty, Zola.
Okay.
And if you look at the Seleucid dynasty, all the way from, it covered Turkey. It went all the way to Turkmenistan, all these areas, all these, the CIS.
These states that thawed out with the Soviet Union.
Down to Syria, down to Lebanon. So if he comes from that region, all this region is Muslim today. We know all these things are Muslim. So he must be coming as a Muslim. In fact, it says that when he comes to Egypt, the Egyptians will follow him in submission. Islam means submission. He plucks out Egypt, Libya, and Sudan. Kush, Foot, and Libya will follow in his footsteps. These are the three roots that are plucked from, the three horns that are plucked from the root, if you will.
Now, in Daniel 11, it says that the king of the south and the king of the north war with the Antichrist. How do you construct that in what you just said?
Because if you look at the text, the king of the north is the Antichrist. The king of the north would war against him, the king of the south. And I think it's a misunderstanding on how we read it. I can go over the text and some other show and show that the king of the north is the Antichrist. He is chief prince of Meshech and Tubal from the north